Besides all the technical film equipment, was there anything else you used?
We've used a lot of tools in the mise en scène, such as props, makeup and costume. There was a variety of this use, although we decided to use a lot of the props, such as the cane, the guns and the handcuffs, to bring the conventions an action and crime genre would have, typically. As you can see, we can easily divide these props into the categories of which genre these conventions are from, such as these. This assists us with the aim to elaborate on both genres individually and specifically, which provided us with the source to come up with the perfect mixture of the two in our trailer. Although we weren't very skilled with the makeup, we studied a few scenes of badly beaten up injured characters from Hollywood films and attempted our best to imitate them and learn from them as how a beaten up face should be done with makeup. Let's not forget that these companies can spend thousands on makeup while we went to Poundland and bought a Halloween kit, as we were technically on no budget whatsoever, putting us at a disadvantage. This also taught us how a production between school colleagues and manufacturing an independent film can contrast from a high-end Hollywood production by a billion-dollar company such as Warner Brothers or Universal.
So what was used to make the film after you done the production side of it? Please speak and elaborate on the post-production.
Of course. So after the filming was done, we had all the footage. We edited all the clips in order to add more effects to them, such as CGI. Matthew Cox had used Adobe After Effects in order to make the special effects within specific shots. A few examples of these shots were the one with the coffee mug's reflection off of Cliff, the gun shots of when Cliff is taking cover behind a wall, and you could, if you look closely, you could see some bullets ricocheting off the wall as well. The smoke was also one of them, where Cliff was walking with the gas mask through a corridor. We believe the CGI which was produced helped enhance the user experience, as it would add realism to the shot and help make the audience believe that there were actual gunshots there, while certain effects such as the coffee mug was done as we couldn't possibly get the same reflection. Even if we tried, we would have the camera being an obstruction between the reflection and Cliff's head. Once all the clips we needed were edited with other effects, we decided to import all the shots with a camera with an SD card into a school Mac, so that it would be more convenient to edit in lessons. And the school also had the software Final Cut Pro, which I've used in editing over the years as a hobby and professionally. Once placed, we would drag the clips down from the library into the timeline and cut out all the shots which we didn't like with the blade tool. We then manipulated all the clips after placing them in their respective order by dragging and dropping, which of course was more complicated than that, as we had to edit some clips frame by frame by using the tag symbols or keys. We added a slight blue turquoise tint called Blue Tones, which was in Final Cut Pro as a preset. This helped get rid of a lot of the warm colours which we didn't want, as it wouldn't fit the crime genre. We used effects which were already in Final Cut Pro, like flash transitions, dissolves and fade to black. We had put all the coffee shop scenes in first, and in order in the primary layer, and put all the action clips on top. The last part of the production was the sound. We got rid of all the raw sound from all our footage. We decided that we would make all the sound again from scratch. So we recorded all the dialogues again, using the mics on my laptop and compressing it on Audacity. We had the dialogues recorded in an almost soundless environment in order to avoid unnecessary ambience. My laptop's fan is extremely loud too, though I fixed it now, but it was very loud back when we were filming. So this meant that we had to record in a very cold room too, in order to prevent it from overheating very What helped was coincidentally it was winter, so it wasn't very difficult to find a room that was cold or unradiated. The music, or the soundtrack as some will call it, looked like there were sounds taken from all over the film. We were extremely satisfied with the music, especially
All I do is catch
as we produced it all by ourselves in order to get the sound and feel we wanted of an action and crime genre put together. As you can see,
On the contrary,
have a very specific codes and conventions within sound.
the skills you've acquired.
This allowed us to be able to specify the reasons as to why the music was composed that way. We deliberately make it off time as it builds anticipation and suspense towards and tension with the audience, bringing in a code of action and some thriller elements. We also wanted to avoid having to contact an agency in order to ask for permission to use the songs in our trailer, as it would lead up to further complications. We didn't have to worry about the sound either. We used a line 6 tone sound quality either, sorry. We used a line 6 tone port UX2 interface, which meant it would pick up high quality sound with almost no interference. And as we weren't using the mic, there was no feedback, ambience, or chatter in the background. We used headphones when recording. Another reason as to why we made our own music was that we could make it in sync with the trailer itself, which is a heavy element within action and crime films. We also used FL Studio 11 to put all the sounds on the track, and in order to manipulate the sound effects, which we had recorded in a soundless environment, while also using noise cancellation in order to avoid all possible background noise, feedback, and hissing. These sounds were manipulated by slowing them down, changing the pitch, decreasing the tempo, and etc. Like we did it for the whoosh sound effect, the punch sound effect. The punch sound effects were made by looking at and manipulating the waveforms and pitch of a bass drum.
Thank you.
VishEval2.
Well, that's all we have time for. We'll see you next week. Thank you, Matt. Well, that's all we have time for. We'll see you next week.